Let me share something with you that might completely change the way you see your thoughts. Have you ever caught yourself drifting into memories of someone, even when you swore you had moved on? It happens in the quiet moments, when you're lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, when a familiar song plays, or when a random scent brings a rush of emotions you weren't expecting. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle, like a whisper in the back of your mind, a faint presence that refuses to leave. But no matter how much you try to suppress it, distract yourself, or convince yourself that it doesn't matter, their presence lingers. Maybe you tell yourself it's just nostalgia, a natural part of remembering the past. Maybe you believe it's simply because they played a significant role in your life, and moving on takes time. You rationalize it, explain it away, convince yourself that it will fade eventually. And yet, despite all your efforts, they remain, hovering like a shadow, resurfacing when you least expect it. You might wonder why this is happening. Why does your mind keep circling back to this person, replaying old memories, analyzing past conversations, and reliving moments that should have faded by now? You might even feel frustrated with yourself, questioning whether you're weak, overly sentimental, or stuck in the past. You see other people moving on effortlessly, forgetting, replacing, healing. And yet, here you are, still tethered to a thought, a memory, a feeling. What if I told you that the reason they're still in your mind has nothing to do with them at all? What if I told you that your thoughts aren't fixated on this person, but on something deeper, something within you? Carl Jung believed that nothing in the unconscious mind is random. Thoughts don't simply appear without reason. If someone continues to resurface in your mind, it's not just about them. It's about you. Your psyche is trying to tell you something. This person isn't just a memory. They are a symbol, a representation of something much greater than themselves. The unconscious is a vast and intricate landscape, filled with everything we have experienced, every joy, every wound, every unresolved emotion. Some memories are stored away neatly, while others, the ones that hold real weight, find ways to reappear over and over again until we finally listen. Maybe you believe that if you had closure, the thoughts would stop. Maybe you think that if you distract yourself enough, you'll finally be free. But what if I told you that the harder you try to silence them, the louder they become? Jung believed that the things we resist the most are the very things that persist. The mind does not let go of something it still needs to understand. So the real question isn't, why can't I stop thinking about them? The real question is, what part of myself is being reflected in them? Because sometimes, the people who occupy our thoughts the most aren't just people. They are mirrors, showing us something we have yet to recognize within ourselves. Think about this for a moment. What if the reason you can't stop thinking about them has nothing to do with them at all? What if they are just a reflection, an echo of something within you that your mind is desperately trying to make sense of? Carl Jung believed that we don't just see people for who they are. We see them through the lens of our own experiences, wounds, and unspoken desires. In other words, we project parts of ourselves onto them, often without even realizing it. Projection is one of the most powerful psychological forces shaping human relationships. It happens when we take something buried deep within us, an insecurity, an unmet need, a repressed part of ourselves, and assign it to someone else. We think we are obsessing over a person, but in reality, we are obsessing over what they represent. It's not just about them. It's about what they awaken in us. Have you ever admired someone so deeply, felt drawn to them in a way that felt almost beyond your control? It could be because they embody something you have disowned in yourself, some part of you that you've suppressed or forgotten. Maybe they have a confidence you secretly wish you had. Maybe they possess a sense of freedom, a way of living unapologetically that you crave but have never allowed yourself to embrace. And so, your mind fixates on them, not because they hold the answer, but because they remind you of something missing in yourself. And then there's the other side of projection. The shadows, the parts of ourselves we don't want to see, the wounds we don't want to acknowledge. Sometimes, the people who stay in our thoughts the longest are the ones who have hurt us the most. We replay conversations, relive the pain, analyze every little detail as if searching for something we missed. But Jung would tell you that this fixation isn't about them. It's about the part of you that was triggered, the wound that was exposed, the fear that was activated. And until you recognize what that is, your mind will keep circling back, trying to solve the puzzle. So, ask yourself, what does this person represent to you? What qualities do they have that stir something inside you? What emotions do they bring to the surface? Because the truth is, the thoughts won't stop until you stop looking outward and start looking within. And here's where it gets even deeper. Some of these attachments, these lingering thoughts, are not just about projection. They are tied to something even older, something that has been shaping your relationships long before you even met them. This is where we begin to uncover the hidden forces of archetypes, the universal patterns that dictate who we connect with and why. Not all thoughts are just thoughts. Some of them run deeper, tracing back to patterns older than you can remember. Have you ever wondered why certain people leave such an impact on you while others fade effortlessly into the background? Why some connections feel almost fated, as if they were meant to happen? Carl Jung believed that this isn't random. He argued that our strongest emotional attachments aren't just about the people themselves. They are shaped by archetypes, universal patterns buried deep within the human psyche. Archetypes act like invisible blueprints, guiding the way we see the world, the way we love, the way we attach. They are the unspoken forces that pull us towards certain people while pushing us away from others. And one of the most powerful of these is the anima and the animus, the unconscious feminine within the male psyche and the unconscious masculine within the female psyche. When someone keeps resurfacing in your mind, it might be because they have awakened this deep internal part of you. Think about the people you've been most drawn to in your life. Have they followed a pattern? Do they seem to share certain traits or evoke similar emotions? This isn't just coincidence. Your unconscious mind has been shaping your attachments long before you were ever aware of it. Some people embody the qualities you seek, the energy that feels familiar. Others bring out something buried in you, old wounds, unresolved conflicts, deep-seated fears. And this is why certain people linger in our minds long after they're gone. They didn't just enter our lives. They activated something within us. Jung believed that love and obsession often have very little to do with the person we are fixated on and everything to do with what they represent to us. That's why some connections feel beyond reason, almost mythical, as if they carry a meaning we can't quite grasp. And perhaps, in a way, they do. Because whether we realize it or not, we are all seeking something through others. Wholeness, understanding, healing. But there's another side to this. Sometimes, these attachments are not about what we need, but about what we lack. The people who consume our thoughts may symbolize the part of us we have yet to embrace, the strength we've denied ourselves, the confidence we never claimed, the love we never fully gave to ourselves. And until we recognize that, until we understand what they mirror back to us, our minds will keep holding on to them, trying to make sense of what was never just about them in the first place. But even deeper than archetypes and attachments lies something else, something even more powerful. The unhealed wounds we carry, the silent fears that shape our emotions, the subconscious patterns that keep us stuck in the past. And until we face those wounds, until we confront the real reason why certain people stay in our minds, we will continue searching for answers in all the wrong places. Some thoughts don't just linger. They grip you, pull you back into places you thought you had left behind. It's as if no matter how much you try to let go, some invisible force keeps you tethered, keeps you wondering, keeps you remembering. But here's something most people don't realize. The reason you can't stop thinking about them isn't because of who they are. It's because of what they wounded inside of you. Jung believed that the things we try hardest to suppress are the very things that end up controlling us. That's why certain people become imprinted in our minds. They didn't just walk into our lives. They triggered something we've been carrying for a long time. Maybe it was a fear of abandonment. Maybe it was a wound of rejection. Maybe it was an ache for validation that you didn't even realize was still there. And when someone activates that part of you, when they bring an old wound to the surface, your mind holds on to them. Not because they are special, but because your psyche is trying to heal. And this is where everything shifts. The moment you stop seeing them as the answer, the moment you realize that they were never the source of what you were feeling, you take back your power. Because the person you were searching for was never them. It was always you. Letting go is not about forgetting. It's about understanding. It's about recognizing that the thoughts will keep circling back until you stop searching for closure in them and start creating it within yourself. The moment you stop looking outward and start looking within, everything changes. because you were never haunted by them. You were being called to heal. And now, you know exactly what you need to do. It's time to set yourself free.